So, interesting news, which I hadn't really been following, but it came up at the most recent therapist networking dinner that we organized, is that the California Board of Behavioral Sciences, which regulates licensed marriage and family therapists or pre-licensed marriage and family therapists, as well as pre-licensed and licensed clinical social workers and licensed and pre-licensed professional clinical counselors, is in the process of transitioning from the California specific clinical license exam to the National MFT exam. So it hasn't taken effect yet. I was sort of surprised, and I will say that I have written the California one, and then I wrote the national one because Massachusetts would not accept the California as a equivalent. So even if you were already licensed, and then the licensed professional clinical counselor exam in California has already that was already opted into the national version of that particular licensure track. But according to the BBS, it's in the process of a transition. So it's anticipated to be implemented in January of 2027. So like in next year. I was really kind of sad to hear that. I know that the intention is to help with portability because people do move to other states and they would like to offer services in that state to residents of that state, or they want to expand their practice even if they don't leave California. And it is easier if you have a pass score with the National MFT exam, which is administered by the Association of Marriage and Family Therapy Regulatory Boards, or AMFTRB. So if somebody has a pass score for the national exam, they just have to send a copy to a board that they're interested in getting a license in. Now, one of the things that this is just my personal opinion. I think the California clinical license exam is actually harder. I think that the national exam had content on there that that wasn't on the California one, questions about structural family therapy, like Minuchin's work, which depending on what grad school you went to in California may not have been in the curriculum, but a good prep class will, you can get up to speed on it. Therapist Development Center does have a training program or a license study prep for the national exam. So a good prep class can do the trick. Now, I still think that the California specific MFT clinical exam has more clinically oriented questions. I mean, the national one might have changed. That could mean maybe that's why California is finally opting in addition to helping with portability. But the California clinical license exam has much more clinically rigorous questions, in my opinion. And one of the advantage with the California clinical exam is that you will be informed as soon as you write it. Like as soon as you're done, they'll print out your results and they'll say congratulations, you passed. So when I took the national exam, I had to wait a month because it's only administered twice a month at the time. So this is 2023. While the California one, you can, once you get the approval from the board and you have a pass, I think a test code, you can just schedule depending on who the test vendor is. So that is the advantage of the California one, is that there's a little bit more flexibility in scheduling a test, which you go to a test center and you find out right away. So for people that kind of are impatient or really need to know if they passed, that kind of is helpful. If I remember correctly, the national exam is, I think it's graded on a curve, but don't quote me on that. That might have changed. So long story short, I'm personally, I kind of darn, because I think the California exam really gets you thinking clinically. So, but at the same time, California was the only state that had its own clinical exam. All other 49 states had, administered or participated in the national exam for licensing their people. But in that sense, it's I think portability is important, and whether you move geographically or not, it does make it easier. But yeah, I weirdly am kind of sad about it. However, the other advantage with California opting into the national exam is that it's one less exam to pay for. It's one less test prep to pay for. It's one less exam to study for, because like it's kind of stressful. So there you go. Good luck to anyone who's writing the license exam, whether it's this year or next year, because yeah, it's very important. And yeah, one less exam to study for makes a big financial difference, because it was like $360 or so. It was almost $400 to write the national exam, and then I think the California one, when I wrote it, I can't remember how much it was. I think it was like 200. Anyway, it was definitely like at least $100, if not more. So that sort of adds up, and not everyone has an employer that's going to pay for it or reimburse it. So there you go. Curious what other people think about California opting into the national exam, especially if you wrote the California exam and also wrote the national exam. So keep track of what the board does, because yeah, like anything, licensing regulations and policies, they evolve over time.